Book Talk. Love it or hate it, it's here and it's here to stay. A lot of times I judge these books not just based on the small little blurb that they say, but a lot of times based on the cover. I made a video a while ago talking about my favorite things and least favorite things to see on book covers. And today I figured I'd sort of revamp that video and make something a little bit different. Today I'm making a tier list of some of the most popular Book Talk book covers and ranking them solely based on the covers themselves. I will not be looking at the author or any of my personal opinions on the book itself, or even what the book is about. And the reason I want to clarify that is that I do have a couple of Colleen Hoover books on here. I personally have never read any of her books. Based on what I've heard about them, I don't want to read any of her books, but we are judging them based solely on covers. And that applies to all of the books and all the authors on here. Nothing I say or choose about any of these books has anything to do with the author or my personal opinions on that. It is just my personal opinions on the book covers. So with that being said, let's dive right in. And as I mentioned, our first book cover is It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. I think it's really pretty, actually. I really like the color scheme. I like sort of the flowers with sort of like the shattering. I think it adds something really intriguing. I'm gonna say this is an A. Yeah, we're starting out strong. Our next one is Shadow and Bone, and I actually have a couple of different Shadow and Bone ones that I want to look at today. I want to look at this version, and I also want to look at this version. So with the darker version of Shadow and Bone, I really like it. I think it looks mysterious. I think it looks dark and intriguing. I think it looks like almost not your typical YA novel. I love the art style of it. I'm gonna put this version of Shadow and Bone into A. Now this version of Shadow and Bone, I am actually not as huge of a fan of this. I kind of like the marble, I like the color scheme, but there's just something about it that it doesn't stick out to me. And so because of that, I'm gonna put this in B. So our next book is another Leigh Bardugo, which is Six of Crows. I love the Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom covers. The covers are very tactile. They almost have a texture to them. These like little silver bits, actual shine. I love the very basic color scheme. I love that you've got the crow and the wings extend into like the city. For all those reasons, this is an S tier. This is our first S tier, everybody, yay! Next one. I promise this is my last Leigh Bardugo one. We've got the King of Scars and Rule of Wolves. I do sort of like the contrast between the two of them. I like how it looks very 3D, very tactile. I like the scratches on the King of Scars. But I think my main problem is just it's too plain. It's too much of the same color. I'm gonna put that in B as well, I think. Now we're talking about The Cruel Prince. I'm not a huge fan of the cover, I'll be honest. It's just kind of boring. Branches, you've got a crown in the tree. I don't know if that's relevant. Anyone who's read the books, tell me, does a prince get stuck in a tree? I do kind of like this little beetle being sort of the only green. It makes it stand out. I don't know if the beetle's significant though or not. Is The Cruel Prince about beetles? Are beetles significant in The Cruel Prince? Let me know in the comments. I'm not a huge fan of the font being used here either. It just seems like a very boring, kind of like stock images. I'm not a fan of it. I think this is gonna be like E, Daughter of the Pirate King. I really like sort of the almost 3D design. It's almost like papery design. The one thing I don't like though is just that this character here, there's something off-settling about her. I think it may be the fact that she's like so white and so pale that she's like paler than the parchment. I think the execution of it was not the best. Then we're gonna have to go C. Okay, so we have another one where we have two covers, and that is A Court of Thorn and Roses. This one with the person. I'm not a fan of this at all. I don't really like the art style. Not a fan of the way the smaller words are in the O's. So this cover I think is gonna be our first F tier. This cover though, I actually like a lot more. I think it looks very mythology, cool art style. I love its very basic colors. This is simplicity where simplicity works. I think I'm gonna say this is an A, honestly, which is such a contrast to the F. The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. It's not sticking out to me amazingly. I think the green of the dress is really striking, especially how it contrasts against sort of the reddish orangish background. This is, I think, an example of having a person on the cover where it works. I think it's gonna be another A. Iron Widow. It feels simplistic yet also very complicated. I love sort of the very basic reds and black and gold color scheme. I love the text, the font chosen for this. It makes it feel very modern. I think it's just an excellent, amazing choice about everything about this. It's awesome. It's unique. You don't see a style like that a lot. And so for those reasons, it's going to be an S tier. Light Lark. I hate this book cover. I have hated this book cover since the moment I saw it. It looks less of like a book cover and more of like a movie poster overall. The choice of font and color here for the author name is so close to like the Netflix logo that you see at the bottom of posters, and this realism of this heart, it doesn't appeal to me. It doesn't look like a book cover to me. It looks like a movie poster. And I'm not a fan of when books redo their covers to do movie posters. I think choosing your art style for it is a really big thing, and I do not like this at all. It genuinely makes me upset every time I see it. It has nothing to do with the controversy that was surrounding that book. I frankly couldn't care less. I just hate the book cover. They both die at the end. So one of the things I will say about this book cover is, as I was prepping this video and getting all these book covers, I started noticing things about this cover that I hadn't noticed when I first got it. I really like the art style. I thought it was cute. Like, I love the blues and the whites, and I think it's very simplistic in a really great way. And then I noticed, hold on, this has a scythe in the shadow. Wait a minute, is the sky a skull? The more I look at it, the more I seem to find, and that is a sign of a good book. This is automatically an S tier. Okay, this one's hard. I like what they were trying to do. I just don't think it was executed the best way possible. My issue is I feel like it's just too busy around the words. I think this is gonna be C tier. Red, white, and royal blue. I think the pink is an interesting choice. Kind of a boring cover, you know, it's just the names and then like our two little characters, which I'm just noticing the art style for their faces, and I'm not a fan of that. Yeah, I think this is gonna be an E tier. I love the green colors, and the gold works so well with the green. I'm kind of annoyed by the tagline in between each of the rows of words. Another issue of it being just a bit too busy. I think it's gonna be a B. Legendborn. I like sort of the red and the blue. I like the glow. Really reminds me of sort of like old 2010s fantasy. Yeah, it is just missing something for me. For that, it's gonna be in an A tier. Next is Heartstopper. This is cute. I like the art style. Obviously, the art style for graphic novels is pretty easy to decide for the cover because it's just gonna be the art style of the book itself. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything that's like blowing me away, but yeah, it's cute. So I'm gonna put this in a B, I think. Okay, The Summer I Turned Pretty, another Netflix series. Just seems kind of boring. Like, I would have liked to see something a bit more unique with it. Yeah, again, with the E, like, for me, it's just not standing out. What did I just say? What did I just say? It is the plain background with just the text and like a few maybe like clip art things. It's fine, it's going in E. I'm not a huge fan of the color scheme. I don't think that's a great yellow. I can see the appreciation of like the reflection. I'm not in love with it. We're gonna go with C. Okay, The Midnight Library, and I have two versions of The Midnight Library. Now the version on the right I actually really like. I think it is really pretty. I love the little eye glows. I love the actual look of the library here with sort of like the gradient and the stars. This version is definitely going in A. This cover I hate. This is supposed to be like 0 o'clock, but I didn't see those little dots at first, and to me they looked like airplane windows, and that really confused me. The color scheme, I don't like anything about it, so this is gonna be another F. Normal People, it's a cover. I don't know what else to say. I think this is gonna be, oh, where do I like this? This is gonna be a D. Yeah, it's gonna be a D. I really like this cover. I like how it's very unique, the edges of it. I love the sort of Greek pottery style. I feel like the way it looks could be designed to be just like a little bit more tactile, like a little bit more 3D. So I'm gonna say A, I think. All right, so now we've got another twofer, which is the Song of Achilles. So this version on the left, I really like. I like the sort of heart as a bow and arrow. I think this one, as good as it is just missing something. It's almost too simplistic. I'm gonna put this in B. This one I'm not a fan of. It reminds me of like those books that you'd see at like the Scholastic School book fair, and not in a good way. This looks like a totally different book. It's so strange how something like as simple as a cover can make something look so different. It's gotta be an E. Priory of the Orange Tree. I love the art style. It's very simplistic. I love the sketchiness of the dragon. Love sort of the yellow background, and that really makes the blue and red of the tower and the dragon pop. I've got to put it in an S. Caraval. I love this book cover. Again, it's that tactileness, the 3D nature of it. I love sort of the swirliness of the letters and the big starburst and like these edges that are sort of gradient with like the red to maroon. You can definitely tell there's like this magical aspect to it. It's very fantastical. This is gonna be an S tier as well. We Hunt the Flame. I love the deep blue color, and the gold yellowish color of the text really makes it stand out. I love just the way the wind is blowing in our heroine's cloak and her hair. I do feel like there's just something missing. So this is gonna be an A. I think the cover is really, really cool. Very like 90s instruction manual type book, which I love. I love the yellow and the pink and like the confetti coming out of the urn. I think it just works really, really well for like the story that she's trying to tell. Yeah, this is gonna be another A. Beach read. Why does the sand look like mustard? That's all okay, I understand what they were trying to go for, but everything just seems executed so poorly. Like, this could have been a gorgeous, like, paler yellow, and we still would have gotten that sand. Instead, it's like, it's mustard. This is mustard. They were on a beach made of mustard. I don't like that you've got this quote right here in the middle. Everything about this, I feel like, infuriates me. So, because of that, it's going into the infuriating section of F. To Kill a Kingdom. I love the ripples. I think that is really cool. I love sort of like the tentacles and one of them holding a dagger. Very simplistic. It's not singing out to me, but I just feel like it could be better. So it's gonna be a B tier for me. Daisy Jones in the Six. Definitely very 60s vibes, very film photo. I like that a lot, but it is very simplistic, you know? It's just very basic. It's not screaming out to me. This is gonna be a B as well, I think. Babel. The sketchiness, really cool. I think the black and white, it reminds me of those like old Victorian England drawings that you see, and like sort of the gold being the text. Really cool. I'm gonna go with an A. The Love Hypothesis. I do like the art style of the characters. I think if that was like a graphic novel, I think that would be a really cute art style, but I do feel like other than that, it just feels sort of plain, especially when you think about how all of her books kind of have the exact same cover. I feel like I am being a bit unfair, but I'm just not a huge fan. And because for that reason, no, not S, definitely not that. It's gonna go for D for me. Shatter Me. I like sort of the trees and the waterfall being the eyelashes. I think that's really cool. But, you know, I'm not a huge fan of it. I feel like it doesn't really tell me much about what the book is about. And I'm also not a huge fan of realism most of the time. So for no other reason than that, it's in B. I never claimed that this ranking would be fair. A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. I like the idea here of sort of the red thread connecting everything. I feel like it could have been done a little bit better. I feel like maybe have pieces of evidence maybe pinned up as well. I think it's gonna be in C. I hate to say it. I hate to say it. The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. Very much like the other stuff in E. It's just a plain background with some text. That doesn't pique my interest, so that is an E tier for me. Ice Planet Barbarians. I have so many questions. Why does she have icicles hanging from her hair? Is this her tail or is this person's tail? If she's a human and she's obviously cold based on the coloring of her face, why isn't she wearing more clothes? Why is there a flying saucer in the background? I have so many questions. I'm not a huge fan of the art style, and I do feel like it's just a bit confusing more than anything, but I don't like I don't hate it. That's the thing, I don't hate it. So I'm gonna put it in E as well. Defy the Night. I love this cover. I love the color scheme, the deep purple with sort of like the sparks going up the side. I love the castle and the outline of the flowers. I love the flower petals. The lettering is really, really cool and it looks like it's almost glowing. I'm gonna put it up in S tier because I absolutely adore that cover. So Legends and Lattes. I think this is super cute. The art style is definitely very comforting. It reminds me of a lot of those like early 90s like paperback, you know, fantasy novels that you see. I think it's super cute, super homey. I'm gonna put this in A. Serpent and Dove. I do like the idea behind these this cover design, and I think in the other two books in the series, it's executed a bit better than this one is. But I think with this one, my issue is just the color scheme of like the black on black makes it kind of hard to tell what is going on in this image. The gold and the black obviously works really well together. I know I said I would be judging these books as sort of a whole, but for me, this book itself, I feel like it could have been better executed. So this is gonna be in, this is gonna be B tier, I think. From Blood and Ash. I like the color scheme of sort of the red for blood and sort of the grayish for ash, and the cross of the dagger and the arrow. My main issue is that the arrow almost looks like it's a different art style from the dagger. I can appreciate what they were trying to do. I think it's cool, but again, I do just feel like there's something missing from it. So for that reason, I'm gonna put it in C. All right, so that is my entire ranking of all of the BookTok books that I decided to talk about today. I'm sure there are tons more that I could have talked about, but I figured that ending at 40 different books was probably enough. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, feel free to leave a comment and let me know in the comments below. Do you agree with my ranking? Was there any books that you felt that I was unfair to, or did you feel like there was any books that you would have liked to see what my opinion was on there? Let me know. I would love to hear your opinions, but let's remember to be nice. As I said, this has no reflection on how I feel about these books or these authors. It is solely based on covers alone, and I'll be real, I did not do a lot of research on this. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed. If you did, feel free to hit that subscribe button and stick around, and I will see all of you lovely people in the next video. Bye!